Have you ever wondered what you would do if someone who wronged you suddenly reappeared in your life? Imagine being a 16-year-old boy dealing with the usual trials and tribulations of teenage life, and then out of the blue, your father, who abandoned your family 4 years ago, decides to pay a visit. This was not an ordinary visit, mind you. This was a man who had not only left his family but also married the woman he cheated with, your former babysitter. The feelings of confusion and resentment must have been overwhelming. It's like a ghost from the past has suddenly decided to materialize uninvited into your present. The father hadn't bothered to visit for 4 years, and his sudden reappearance raised many questions. Why now? What prompted this sudden change of heart? The boy's aunt, probably as confused as he was, suggested a rather unsettling reason. The man had found out his new wife was infertile and couldn't give him a child. It's hard to imagine the swirl of emotions the boy must have felt at this revelation. On the one hand, there was the hurt and the bitterness of being abandoned. On the other hand, there was this strange sense of being wanted again, but for all the wrong reasons. The mother, ever the peacemaker, suggested that the boy should at least be civil to his father. And so he did. He put up with the visits, the awkward conversations, the painful reminders of the past. But it was far from easy. The father's wife, the former babysitter, even had the audacity to criticize their well-trained friendly golden retriever. She claimed dogs were vicious and dangerous, a ridiculous assertion considering the breed's reputation for being gentle and good-natured. The boy was torn between his loyalty to his mother and his resentment towards his father. His father's words, suggesting that he should be nicer to his wife if he wanted a relationship with him, only amplified his confusion. Little did he know this was just the start of an emotional roller coaster. What happens when an unwelcome guest crosses the line? Imagine a scene where a long-absent father returns, not alone, but with a new partner in tow. This isn't just any partner, mind you. This is a woman who used to babysit our protagonist, a woman who is now married to the protagonist's father. The awkwardness is palpable, the tension thicker than the thickest fog. Now, you might think perhaps this new woman will try to make amends, try to bridge the gap. But no, that's not the case. This woman, who has entered their home as a guest, chooses to disrespect not just the home but also its inhabitants. Their beloved pet, a golden retriever, becomes the target of her uncalled-for criticism. She labels the dog, a creature known for its loyalty and affection, as vicious and dangerous. Our protagonist listens, his anger simmering, his patience wearing thin. This is his home, his safe haven. His mother has been insulted, his dog berated. And all this from a woman who was once just the babysitter, now playing the role of an unwanted guest. The protagonist's father, instead of diffusing the situation, adds fuel to the fire. He issues a veiled threat, implying that their relationship hinges on the protagonist's acceptance of his wife's behavior. This, after years of absence. This, after abandoning his children. The protagonist's frustration turns into righteous anger. He's been abandoned once, but he won't be replaced. He won't let this woman, this unwanted guest, disrespect his home, his mother, his pet. He won't let his father dictate the terms of their relationship. Not after all these years. The protagonist's resolve strengthens. He's had enough. He's ready to stand his ground, ready to protect his home, his family. His father might have returned, but things are not the same anymore. He'll confront his father, he'll make his feelings known, because sometimes enough is enough. But as they say, the straw that breaks the camel's back is always unexpected. Opening, how far would you go to stand up for what you believe in? In the heart of this storm, a 16-year-old boy found himself standing tall, refusing to be swept away. He was faced with a situation that would make most adults quake, confronting his father's new wife, a woman who had come into his home and disrespected not only his beloved pet, but also his mother. Now let's be clear, this wasn't about picking a fight. It was about standing up for what was right. He had heard this woman belittle his mother, criticize their home, and even scorn their dog, a creature of pure innocence and unyielding loyalty, and he had decided to hold his ground. With the courage of a lion, he reminded her that this was their home. He reminded her that if she didn't like their dog, she could leave because this wasn't her place. But our protagonist wasn't just defending his dog, he was standing up for his mother, for their home, and for the respect they deserved. But the confrontation didn't end there. His father, a man who had been absent for years, told him he should be nicer to his new wife if he wanted a relationship with him. In response, the young man didn't flinch. He told his father that he wasn't particularly interested in a relationship with him, especially after being abandoned for so long. It was a bold stance to take. It was a statement that echoed with the pain of abandonment but also the strength of survival. An assertion that he didn't need a father who only showed up when it was convenient for him. He was more than just a replacement child, and he deserved more than conditional love. This confrontation was a testament to the strength of our young protagonist. It was a demonstration of his courage, his resilience, and his determination to stand up for what he believed in, regardless of the consequences. Closing, but the confrontation was far from over. Opening. Would you choose loyalty over blood relations? Our protagonist found himself standing at a crossroads. His father, a man who was supposed to be a pillar of support, an embodiment of unwavering love, had disappointed him. It was a stark reminder of the past 4 years of abandonment. The wound was still fresh, the scars still visible. The protagonist's heart was heavy with a sense of betrayal and hurt. His father's insistence on his wife's valid concern about the family dog was the straw that broke the camel's back. The audacity of this man who had barely been a part of his life, to dictate what was good or bad for him, was just too much to bear. But amidst the turmoil of emotions, there was an ember of resolution glowing. This was his life, and he had every right to guard it. He had every right to decide who got to be a part of it and who didn't. He was not a puppet in his father's hands, to be discarded and picked up at will. And so, he made the decision. A decision that was as much about self-respect as it was about loyalty. He told his father with a voice that was steady despite the whirlwind of emotions within, "I don't want to talk to you anymore." It was a simple statement, yet it held so much weight. It was a declaration of independence, a stand against emotional manipulation. His father looked shocked, as if he hadn't expected this outcome. He asked him incredulously, "Are you choosing your dog over me?" The protagonist, with newfound strength, responded affirmatively. Yes, he was choosing his loyal, loving dog over a father who had shown him nothing but disappointment and betrayal. He blocked his father's number, cutting off the last remaining thread of connection. It was a step towards healing, towards moving on from the hurt of the past. Closing. And just like that, he made the choice that would forever change his relationship with his father. Was he too cruel, or was he just standing up for himself? This query echoes in his mind as he reflects on the confrontation with his father, the man who had been absent for a significant portion of his life. His father's sudden reappearance, his new wife's disdain for their beloved family pet, and the subsequent clash of words, had all culminated in a decision that left him questioning his actions. The protagonist, a 16-year-old boy, had found himself in a situation that demanded maturity beyond his years. He had been confronted with an uncomfortable truth, that his father had only begun to visit after learning his new wife couldn't bear him a child. This revelation, coupled with the audacity of his father's wife to criticize their family pet and his mother, had led him to a boiling point. His older brother, though understanding of the situation, had suggested that perhaps he had been too harsh. He had called into question the necessity of his younger brother's blunt rejection of their father. This had sparked a period of introspection for our protagonist. He pondered over his actions, the words he had spoken, and the impact they had on his relationship with his father. In the end, he had made a decision to block his father's number, a symbolic gesture of his resolution to move forward without his father in his life. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was one he felt was necessary for his peace of mind. His father had asked him if he was choosing his dog over him, but in reality, the decision had little to do with the dog. It was about choosing respect and dignity over a relationship that lacked both. He chose to stand up against the disrespect shown towards his mother and their family pet. He chose to protect his space from negativity and toxicity. In the end, it wasn't about choosing his dog over his father, it was about choosing respect and dignity over a relationship that lacked both.